Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest Gehenna Gaming interview. Joining me this evening is my good friend and our longtime community member, Wes, also known as Brother Wesley of Carrion Comfort Studios, also known as Thirst Trap Mothman on our Discord. Wes is the mastermind behind, as I mentioned,
Yeah.
Carrion Comfort Studios, where he does deep dive reviews of horror game systems, watch parties of horror films, video game let's plays, and much more. We're proud to call Wes a friend of Gehenna Gaming as we host his stream on our Wednesday and Saturday evenings. And you may remember him from our very first actual play stream where I ran our one-shot Fatal Choices for him. You are in fact the first guest we ever had on our channel. So I'm very excited to welcome you back. We haven't exactly had you on since then, but you participated in Virtual HorrorCon, so you were around. So I guess we have had you on. But I'm really excited to have you on chatting with me tonight.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Yeah, I know that you have interviewed such greats like Matthew Webb and Josephine McAdams and a myriad of others, but I am so very happy to be the first title holder.
You are
of first guest of Gehenna Gaming. So I'm going to
first official guest on stream.
Yep. So I'm gonna wave that banner for the rest of my days.
I'll have Mark make you a T-shirt. Says it.
Perfect.
So there's, other than wanting to chat with you, there is another reason that we are having you on this evening, which is tomorrow, starting tomorrow, you are doing a 24-hour charity stream to raise money for the American Humane Society.
That is correct. That is correct.
Can you tell folks a little bit about what you're doing?
Yeah. So it's been a long time ago since I've done any extended hour streams. As I've gotten older and gotten a more intensive and focus heavy job, I haven't been able to stream as much. That's why I only stream 2 days a week now.
Mm-hmm.
But recently, my cat and best friend Wally got very deathly, like almost potentially would not be around anymore, sick. And so I had to take him to the vet. And it was a long day of not knowing what was going on. And so we finally got him there to the emergency vet. He's properly taken care of. And a lot of there was a lot of support. There was a lot of outpouring support and kindness from primarily the Gehenna Gaming Discord community, but also friends of mine from around. But like it was the amount of support was amazing and astounding. I also know that there's a lot of other people that have stuff going on as such. It's a very like financially trying time. And there was talks I was thinking about, like, because the vet bills are ridiculous and I'm going to have to continue to have all that stuff going on. But I have a job. I'm capable of paying for it. It's just over a amount of time. So I figured the best way to pay it forward, all the kindness that was given to me, and all the talks of like starting a GoFundMe for his bills and everything, I thought the best way to pay it forward would be to host a stream to support one of my favorite charities. I've got a couple, but this one, it's also the one that I donate to yearly in his name.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the Humane Society of the United States. It's a charity that I've supported ever since I was a kid, when my parents got me into donations and charities and fundraising. And they're a great charity to support. You can go to their website now and check them out. They're fully above the board. They completely like give you a full breakdown of what your money goes to. But they go to stopping puppy mills, which is a big thing that I'm against. Trophy hunting, fur trafficking, homelessness of animals, animal abuse. It is an all around, and I'm not going to say the other big corporation that prides themselves on taking care of that doesn't actually take care of that.
We don't need to talk about them.
Yeah, exactly. But this organization actually does a lot of good for animals around. And so I figured it would be good to have a 24-hour stream. I'm going to be going for 24 hours. I kind of just threw this together, and I was like, should I ask like guests to like take over or something like that? And I was like, I don't have time. I was like, I'm just going to throw it together. I've got some Death Wish coffee and I am good to go for it. But it's going to be a great time. My target goal is $3,000.
Awesome.
I know that's a bit steep, but I got to be hopeful
We'll see
though.
what we can do.
Yeah. And the Tiltify campaign is going live now, so you
Yep.
can donate now. And it's going to be going until Friday, but the start time is Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central. So that's 9 p.m. for Eastern, and then Pacific, it's 6 p.m. And it's going to be going until 8 p.m. the next day on Thursday.
Awesome.
And I've got a schedule planned out of what I'm going to be doing. The whole thing, it's called Getting Wrecked for Wally. And it's not just 24 hours of me drinking or anything like that and getting actually wrecked.
Well,
It's 24 hours of me getting wrecked at games that I wish I was good at, but I'm not good at.
awesome.
A long time ago, I used to stream video games. That was it. That's all I streamed.
Yep.
So I figured I've got a docket right now of League of Legends. It'll be the first time I've ever played League of Legends before. I have a friend of mine that's really good at it. So here's that. Hollow Knight will be next.
Cool.
There's going to be some stretches and breaks and stuff.
Mhm.
I love games like Hollow Knight. I'm not good at them, but I love them. It
Same.
takes me a lot of time to beat them.
Same.
I do have a break of a game that's not too hard to play, but it's on the dock. It's Dream Daddy Dad Simulator.
Yes.
Dad Dating Simulator. I need a break. It's going to be at 5 a.m. So
Yeah, there you go.
I
Just
need
don't fall
something-
asleep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll be reading the whole time and hopefully like guzzling coffee. And I'm thinking about doing a breakfast break for like just me making breakfast and just talking.
You should. Yeah, I was gonna say you should cook on stream because
Yeah.
what people may not know about you is you used to be a cook.
Yep. 10 years. 10 years.
So.
And then also later in the day when my my housemates are awake, because I get really loud when I play this game, we're going to be playing Modern Warfare.
Nice. Cool.
Which is my favorite game to be terrible at.
Awesome.
And then maybe some more League of Legends. I don't have the final game to be playing filled out, so if anybody has any suggestions, I've got plenty of games on backlog. Just send them my way.
I'm going to echo the sentiment I just saw in chat. If you've never played Doki Doki Literature Club,
I saw somebody suggested Doki Doki Literature Club, so I'll be sure to download that. And
it's free.
I'll probably it's free. Yeah, yeah.
You've never played?
I've heard the stories.
Okay,
I will never played it.
I will 100% tune in for that portion. I need to know when that is because I love watching people play that game and experience it for the first time.
Everybody that I've asked to like sell me on it will never tell me what's so horrifying about it.
Nope.
So I don't know anything about it, but I'm just like, yeah, no, it's a Japanese dating simulator.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah, it's terrifying.
But yeah, so that's gonna be it.
Awesome.
So I love to have folks there. Always happy to have folks come to the stream and hang out. And if you can't donate, man, just share it, just signal boost it.
Yeah,
that does a lot for streams of this nature, for charity streams. So yeah, I know times are tough for people, so if you got nothing to give, then just
signal
give
boost.
A shout out.
Yep. If you need, and I just shared the Twitch channel in chat, so folks, go give them a follow or a sub if you can. Speaking of follows and subs and charity events, this week, Wes is not the only person who is having has a sick pet. Two of our community members, Bran and Danny, whom all of you probably know very well. Bran runs our Worlds and Crafts stream on Wednesday. Their dog Mona is sick, so we will be Gehenna Gaming will be donating all funds, profits raised from subs and bit donations on our channel this week, starting from Sunday going to Saturday. We will be donating that towards their GoFundMe, which was just linked in chat. So if you want to support them, you can go directly to the GoFundMe, or if you want to show some love to us at the same time, give us a sub and or donate some bits, and we will be donating those proceeds to them. That said, we're here for an interview. So I ask all of our guests this question, and I actually don't know. I have never talked to you about this, so I'm curious. How did you get into tabletop gaming in the first place?
So that is if you go in the way back machine, about, I'd say it's been about 11 or 12 years now. Um, I caught an episode of Community,
Mhm.
and it was specifically the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons like 201 episode where they played Dungeons and Dragons on Community. And at that time, I was a theater kid in
Yep.
high school. I wore tight jeans and band T-shirts of obscure ska bands that nobody knew about.
Now you just wear
Uh,
metal t-shirts for
yeah,
metal bands that some people have never heard about.
yeah. And I like carried around Wheel of Time and Dragonlance and all those books and read them at school and everything. And I knew what tabletop was. I knew what Dungeons and Dragons was, but it wasn't until that episode of Community.
Mhm.
And I used to watch with some other friends in theater, and we all watched it. And we're like, let's play tabletop. Let's
Nice.
get into it. So we it was, I think, fourth edition was the popular one at that time. It was before fifth edition, and so
You're making me feel old.
I'm not like a lot of people where second ed or third ed was their entry level or anything like that. It's fourth edition.
Yep.
And my buddy Justin, he was the dungeon master, and it was supposed to be a naval campaign where it's like a bunch of islands and stuff, and it quickly turned into a pirate campaign.
As you do.
Yeah, I mean, we're a bunch of rowdy, rambunctious teenagers with nothing better to do. And I played my favorite ancestry class combo, which is Orc Fighter, which was just
Very
it's
nice.
just great. It's just great. So yeah, that was my first introduction into tabletop, and that was my first game ever, and it was a very dice-filled downhill slope from there.
So obviously you joined up with Gehenna Gaming and started hanging out with us quite a while ago, actually, really kind of close to our inception, when we were primarily focused on vampire. So I do have to ask, what was your first introduction to the World of Darkness?
So my first introduction to the World of Darkness, other than just like hearing about it and like going to game stores and seeing like the books on display, but not really much delving into it, I, unlike some people, I am a werewolf guy.
Yeah.
I am that is my wheelhouse. The Universal Monsters, Wolfman's my favorite. American Werewolf in London is one of my favorite all-time horror movies.
So that's a good one.
Yeah, I'm big into werewolves, and so when I heard that there was a game where you can play werewolves, I dove into it immediately. I was in college and I had nothing better to do, and I just jumped in, like not even know. I think the first game that I played, it was with kids that were from the international house, and like it was a bunch of there was some students from Eastern Europe and England that were playing.
Okay.
And I had no idea about the environmental undertones. I don't think they cared about the environmental undertones. It was just a bunch of us playing werewolves and ripping apart bikers, and
Nice.
and it was great fun. And then slowly I started learning there was other different lines from the World of Darkness after that. But I am like my first, like Vampire the Masquerade V5 is my first.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I revised edition was what we played for Werewolf back then, and then Werewolf 20 came out. But Vampire the Masquerade V5 was my first one. LA by Night got me into Vampire the Masquerade. I think that's what led me to y'all's Discord as well, talking about it on Twitter.
Probably. That's actually really cool, because Werewolf was also my introduction to the World of Darkness, the second edition. So actually, first edition. Old.
Yeah, I'm much more of a lumber goth than a leather goth. So
you will be very happy to know then that your sub icon is the Wolfman.
Oh God, it is. That is excellent.
So what other? I mean, you've talked about and you've run other games for Virtual HorrorCon. You ran Alien. You've talked about a lot of other games. So like, how broad is your background in tabletop gaming in terms of different game lines and systems?
So I've always, especially in my current friend group now,
Hmm.
um, uh, I've always wanted to try new systems. When a new system comes out and it has something about it that like the hook that gets that fires off the pistons in my brain, I want to try it. So I've tried a multitude. I've stuck with only a few, just because I get used to their setup and everything.
Yep.
Savage Worlds is a big one that it's so broken, but I love it because it's general use.
Right.
You can play any game. Like I ran a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen like style Victorian England where fictional characters are real
Nice.
game called Mists of Whitechapel. That
Nice.
was like a long running campaign that like ended up in 1980 cyberpunk London. So like the Savage Worlds is great. But there game systems like Worldwide Wrestling.
Yep.
I've even dabbled in Pathfinder for a little bit. It's not my bag. D
Same.
and D. Um, let's see, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles role playing game
Yep.
where you had to have a calculator to run it.
Uh-huh.
That was one. Marvel superheroes was a big one I dove into. There was a time in my college life where I didn't have enough money to pay for video games.
Yep.
But I did have enough money to go to the thrift store and buy old RPG books. So that's what I spent most of my time, and then I would coerce friends into playing games with me.
As you do.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. So this can often be a loaded question, but what is your favorite game, or what is your favorite gaming experience to date?
Yeah. Okay. So I do know my favorite game. My favorite game to like run and play
Hmm.
so far, and it changes every so often, but the most consistent one has been Alien RPG.
Nice.
I love free leagues. Their year zero system. I think a lot of game systems would benefit from being more narrative focused. That's how you get more people
Hmm.
into the community.
Yeah.
But so far that's been my favorite is the Alien RPG system. I think it works really well for what it is. And it's easy to pick up and play and pick
Yeah.
up and run.
Definitely.
um but gun to my head, like for all time, one that's not recent or anything, I think Call of Cthulhu, I'm right there with you. Like I think that's the one that I've like played the most of and had the most fun playing.
Yeah.
um just because it's also like it seems complicated on the outside, but it's actually really easy to pick up and play.
Roll 2d10.
Yeah, roll TD. Yeah, exactly. And also, I've played the most characters in that system because of dying and going insane. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, and my favorite gaming experience to date was probably it was a Savage Worlds game that a friend of mine ran. That was high fantasy.
Nice.
And we had a 14-person party because he ran a game with three different groups.
Hmm.
And we had it was like a campaign finale, and he brought all the groups together. So it was 14 of us in my townhome at the time. All like we bought a bunch of champagne to like as soon as it was over, we popped bottles of champagne because we did it. We beat a campaign.
Nice.
But it was like earth-shattering consequences and airships flying overhead and dragons and everything. It was perfect, and like we're all screaming at each other, and it's 10 p.m. on a Thursday night. It was perfect.
That's awesome. Yeah, interestingly enough, I don't know if I've never finished a campaign I was running.
I've only finished two that I was running. That was at Mists of Whitechapel's
Yeah.
campaign, and then in college I had a 3.5 campaign that I ran through
Nice.
all the way up to 20.
Nice. Yeah, no, like I've always had that problem where I always want to run something that takes like 3 years to finish,
Yeah.
and it's like, especially as an adult, it just doesn't work out.
Yeah. Nowadays I'm much more fond of of double taps and one shots
Same.
and
Yeah.
like things that you're like, okay, I have in my mind, I can finish this in a year
Yep.
or X amount of sessions.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yeah. No. The V5 game I'm running right now. If we hadn't skipped sessions, I would have finished it in about a year.
Whew.
So
Yeah.
I have a friend who plans everything in 10 session chunks, which I feel is decent. If you can get it to 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
um. So tell me a little bit more about. Obviously, you mentioned you were a theater kid.
Mm-hmm.
You played in a ton of systems.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite character that you've ever created and played?
Uh, um, well, there is half orc, Sarbash half blood, who was half orc, like 2 weapon fighter. That like that character was a lot of therapy for me because it helped me get through my like every bearded white guy that's kind of chubby that has dad issues, and that character really helped me like come to terms with a lot of things about like my relationship with my own dad who wasn't around.
Yeah.
So that was like a really cool, like it was cathartic. It was a really cathartic gaming experience. um there is also a character named Zed that was in a sci-fi setting, that was this pilot. He was a pilot character that was he was like too sickly
Okay.
to be a pilot for his own homeworld. So he like joined like the Human Federation and became a pilot for them. But his disease kept him from doing combat
Okay.
flying. He could only do like cargo flying, and I think that was like a really cool like headspace to get into, of like somebody
Nice.
that like has all these aspirations, that like wants to be like this ace fighter pilot, but he can't. Um, and that was a really fun like character to get into. But yeah, those are probably my two like
Nice.
favorite. And there's a myriad of Call of Cthulhu characters, but they
Yeah.
all
Lasted 2 sessions.
yeah, exactly.
Nice. Um. So between from all of that and from playing in so many games,
Mhm.
you also run a lot of games. You've also how have you taken those experiences to, like, how long did you play in games before you started running them? How did that inform kind of how you approach running games?
So I like to at least have about 10 sessions under my belt
Hmm.
before I of like playing with like the heavy hitter games, like game systems,
Yep.
before I run them. But there's a lot of like indie games, like Mork Bork and Alien, most of the Free League stuff,
Yeah.
that like I just devoured the books. I don't feel comfortable running it until I've read all the necessary material for a game master to read. That's just my own thing. I fully support those that are like, hey, we're going to just run it. We're just going to try it. We're just going to do it live. I'm like, I fully support that, but my own anxiety, my own brain is like, nah, that's not gonna fly, kid. Like you can't like you gotta have you gotta have a little bit more.
Hmm.
So that's I I like to know everything that's gonna be coming at me,
Yeah.
because I know that players are devious,
Oh yeah.
and they will know every trick in the book, and if you don't, then they're gonna catch you, and you're going to end up with something that's going to break your whole story.
That's
And
that's why it's convenient to run a game no one's played before.
exactly. That's why all my friends, I'm like, hey, have you ever played this system? And they're like, no, but it sounds interesting. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's
You won't know
come
if
on
I
over.
screw up.
Yep.
Um. So based on that and how much time you like to spend learning the system and the lore behind it, how much prep time do you do before you run a game? Like planning the campaign itself.
So if anybody watches my stream, they know for a fact that I plan an exuberant amount
Yes,
for
you do.
campaigns. I have currently the Morgantown by Night, Vampire the Masquerade V5 chronicle that I've written, I have all the information, including weather information that's happening at the time. That's like predicted weather analysis. It's probably not going to be happening, but like I like to know. I like to be in the know. I've got like I like for a camp, like especially in like World of Darkness where you're playing in a real world setting.
Mm-hmm.
I like to have everything mapped out. Yeah. True, a touch of you, true.
And no plan survives contact with players.
Yep. But I love I love I love building. I love playing. I
Mm-hmm.
love having a toolbox, and I love being able to start with a sandbox and get all my tools out and be able to play with stuff. I love
Yeah.
collaborative stuff, but like when I'm by myself and I am like high on coffee and any other things, and I'm just like staring at a screen and I'm just like, how does this work? How does this work? Like I like to get in the zone,
Yeah.
and I have made there's another Vampire the Masquerade game V5 that is on hiatus currently, but we're going to get back into it. It's Crescendo. It's my baby. It's the one I've been working that I like thought of a long time ago that wasn't a vampire game. But it's set in 1920s New Orleans. And I have a full Google Doc and a Google Drive that is just Crescendo, that is like character portraits.
Nice.
It is maps from the 1920s in New Orleans. It is what music was popular at that time, what happened when things like because it takes place in 1922,
Mm-hmm.
so King Tut's tomb was opened at that time.
Yep.
So how would that affect people? Who was famous like in picture shows? Who had just died recently?
Yep.
All that stuff. I have it all in a Google file, so just in case something happens, I can be like, "Well, bam!
Yeah.
There's that."
Nice. I do a lot of that planning for that style of planning for Call of Cthulhu games. Not so much for World of Darkness games. World
Yeah.
of Darkness games, I tend to be a little more liberal with my. This is a fictional universe thing, but Call of Cthulhu, yeah, I totally do all the same stuff.
Definitely. Oh, Hamster Robber knows. Where do they get their fresh water from? That is a long going inside joke of our friend group, which is especially with fantasy worlds, when you're just building a fantasy world. A friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, had a desert city that was in a clamshell, or kind of like a shell of sorts.
Okay.
Like it protected itself from like the elements and like sandstorms by being in a shell. It was filled with werewolves. That was another thing that, yeah. But somebody else in that game asked them, where do they get their fresh water from if it's a desert city? And it just broke everything. Like it's just like oh screw you guys. Oh screw you, like no, like it just tore down everything. So that is now a running joke for my friend group, is like, if you're building a fantasy world, the first thing that you figure out is, in a city, where do they get their fresh water from? Just so you know.
Nice. So with that much prep that you do, going back to that, would you say you spend more time prepping before you run a game as opposed to like individual session prep?
I like to, so the bulk of my prepping comes to individual session prep, because I do an insane amount of prepping before the game even starts, but I won't even know where to go from having the bare bones of it. I won't know what internal organs to put in the monster.
Yeah.
Like I'll have the skeleton and the muscles and everything like that, but internal organs, I won't even know what to put into it until the players start playing in it. And then knowing exactly where their interests lie and what playground they want to play in. And then that's when I start, like, I've been known to, like, I ran a game and I had to throw away everything after the first session because it just went off the rails. And I had to completely rewrite. And I swore to myself after that day, I was never going to over prep to an extent. I was never going to over prep to an extent, just in case.
There's a difference between world building and knowing what the world, players are entering is
Mhm.
in prepping that versus planning the course of a session. Uh,
Yes.
so for me, I don't know if I've ever actually answered this question. I do fairly extensive world building, and then I don't prep for sessions. I spend about an hour going over my notes from the previous session, and then like for in World of Darkness, for example, thinking about how what the other NPCs are doing and
Mhm.
how they react to what the players did, and then
Yeah.
how they would react to potential things. That's about it. And I'm like, okay, I got this. Let's go. What are you doing tonight?
Yeah.
A little bit different with one shots. Obviously, I plan
Mhm.
those pretty extensively, but
Yeah, I have only ran one shot that did not turn into a double tap, which is what I like to call two shots
yeah.
or whatever. I and that was a game of Dread that
Mm,
Hamster Rob will remember. It was 7 hours of gaming,
yeah.
but it
Most
was a one shot.
every one shot I've run other than convention games has turned into like a 7-8 hour game.
hmm
So
Uh,
I feel you.
yeah, and like I've learned from that, especially with one shot games, is that I need to have a eject button.
Yeah.
If it ever like if it starts getting on too long or getting towards the end of the time, I need to have a
Got a death
trap
timer.
card. Yeah,
Yeah.
death timer. Which those are the best one shots in my opinion, is if they have a certain time to handle a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And they always work the best. The
If you
recent Alien RPG game that I did for VHC had something of the sorts of that, but that was thrown out the window when the players got too investigative. Uh,
it happens. Yeah. If people haven't seen that game, it's fantastic. You can find it over on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Gehenna Gaming. Links. So switching gears just a little bit, um, you are obviously a connoisseur of horror media in many different forms.
Thank you.
Um, horror comes in many shapes and sizes, and there's a lot of different themes you can explore in it. What are
Mhm.
some of your favorite themes within horror, and how do you work those into your games?
I was just talking with somebody about that earlier today. I That is one of my favorite questions. Themes. I am when I'm writing like short stories or a novel. I'm
Mhm.
terrible at finding the theme because I'm just like I have this cool idea and I want to write down. But with role playing games, it's really easy. Uh, Loss of faith is a big
Mhm.
one. Um, because as somebody who has lost their own faith, I came from a very conservative Christian background.
Mhm.
I find that those stories are very interesting to see somebody who was so steadfast and had like an idea of what their expectations of beyond was, and to
Mhm.
have those shattered in front of them.
Yeah.
I think that's horrifying in of itself. That's a big one. Also, familial horror,
Mhm.
um, uh, betrayal,
Yep.
uh, and distrust is like very big on me. Like, there's a movie that's not very good, but it really touches on it really well. It's a Nick Cage movie called Mom and Dad with Selma Blair.
Yep.
He's full on Cage the whole time.
Yeah.
Um, and if you don't know about it, go watch it. It's very dumb, but it's very good. And it's about what if the world happened where parents tried to kill their teenagers, tried to kill their kids.
Yep.
Something happened, and it just flipped the switch. Um, so like family, religion, and I think like the third, if to have like a trifecta of it, would be psychological horror.
Mhm.
um there was a time, a younger Wes, that loved body horror
Yep.
and gruesome, all that stuff, but as I've gotten older, psychological horror really does it for me. Jacob's Ladder is one of my favorite movies.
That's a good one.
And that the scariest parts of that movie are not the scary parts that most people would find scary to me.
Oh
it,
yeah, I would agree.
it's like a lot of the gruesome images and like the weird unsettling stuff that you see on the screen
Mhm.
isn't scary to me. It's the whole loss of identity and him not knowing what is real and who's real, and like there's the whole scene in the hospital where he's like, I need to see my doctor. Like, I'm coming to see my doctor, and they're like, we don't have a doctor of that name here. We haven't ever had a doctor of that name. You're not in our records, sir, at all. And then like that, he's like, I've been coming to this doctor for the past 5 years.
Yep.
Like that to me, like if that happened to me, and I don't know what I would happen. So that, like, psychological horror, familial related horror, and loss of religion or religious horror really, like, does it for me. And I like to
Nice.
put those in my games. Because I always make sure, this is important, I always make sure that people playing are into that as well.
Yeah.
If they're not, then I can always pull something else out of the tool shed. But it's 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 very fun to take a couple of players, and like, not just fun, but it's interesting to me, and it's cathartic, and it's redeeming,
Mm-hmm.
to me, to take a group of people and to have a conversation, but not as yourself, but as of characters.
Yep.
That horror gaming to me is really a conversation that's that's just happening through improv, and a game is just the bare bones of it. There is a really good session, and not to toot my own horn, but I'm not tooting my own horn because I'm giving more love to the players of that Miss Whitechapel game I talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
There was a really good session where I didn't have to introduce anything. The players did everything themselves. And it was a dinner theater, like it was like a dinner session where we made dinner, but it was taking place at a fancy dinner at a Victorian manor. And I just sat back and let them, like, all I did was just, like, it was a whodunit, it was a murder mystery that sat in front of it, but I just, like, introduced, like, the catalyst of it, of like, oh, somebody appeared dead.
Nice.
What happened? Who did it? And they took it away, and they did everything. I just explained the set dressing.
That's awesome.
And they really, like, touched on, like, paranoia, and like there were some of the characters were related, and it was like, I don't think, like, I trusted you this whole time, but like I threw in like some red herrings of like, oh yeah, maybe your brother did fuck with you a little bit. And so that was, that it's fun to me, but it's also like really gratifying to see people like have a discussion about mental health and religion, but it doesn't involve yelling at each other. It doesn't involve
Right.
trying to prove who's right. It's just exploring that.
Yeah.
That's something I think that we need more of in the world.
Well, that's one of the things that games are so great at, and I think that people need to explore more in their tabletop gaming is dealing with worldwide global issues in a way that we can do both comfortably and respectfully, in a safe place, because you're sitting at a table with hopefully friends. You're not out in the world actually dealing with those problems.
Yeah. And like, I mean, to be able to have a X card or a like an eject button.
Yep.
I always call it eject button. To be able to step away from that at any point and like be like, I can pause this, or I can stop this whenever I want to. That is why I love horror so much. Because like playing horror games or watching horror movies or playing like video games or anything like that, there's always a pause button. There's always a like pause it and walk away, and I can watch it later. Because like even I've got like tons of horror movies over here on my that's like just some of the Blu-rays I have, and like there's even times where I watch certain movies where I'm just like, I need to stop. I need to like I need to go make a frittata and have some coffee and enjoy my day, and then I can come back to this because I'm not in the right headspace.
I did that last night. I was watching As Above, So Below.
Yes, it's such a good one.
As my brain started, this is a spoiler for people who haven't seen it, so mute it for 5 seconds. I'll wave my hand in front of the camera when I'm done. But it plays on the themes from Dante's Inferno, and as I picked up on that, my brain just kind of went into overdrive because it's also as the movie starts spiraling, and I was like, I had to pause it and like go get make some tea and like think about everything for a minute, and then come back and be like, all right, now I can actually like appreciate this movie more. I actually rewound a little bit and watched back some of it from there because I was like, I need a break. I have to think about this. This is okay. Now I get it. All right, now you can come back. I promise we're done. No more spoilers. But yeah, great movie. And
that was one of the
say.
first movies that like I watched, and I actually felt it rang true when you're saying that if you didn't really enjoy that movie too much as a horror fan,
Mm-hmm.
then you probably didn't get it.
You
Not like
definitely.
get it, but like you
Oh,
didn't
definitely.
like
Yeah.
yeah, because I hate that argument of that like movie critics you'll see on Twitter all the time or on YouTube. They're like, if you didn't like this movie, you just didn't get it.
It's no.
Inception is like the greatest mind fuck of all time, and
No.
I don't like that as like as an excuse because I'm very much
It's
of
lazy.
a yeah, it's lazy. Like you're not gonna like everything that everybody likes.
Exactly.
And I mean, I know people. I love heist movies and I love westerns.
Same.
And I have friends that think westerns are boring as shit.
Yep.
And I'll never fault them for it.
I love.
Tombstones. Yeah.
Yeah, I love James Bond movies.
Me too.
They're campy as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, Black Miriam, does not enjoy watching them, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that's fine. I'm gonna sit here and watch the shit out of them. I love these movies.
The dialogue is terrible.
Yep.
The special effects sometimes are, but I'm having fun.
Exactly.
I don't think I've ever yelled more about movies than when talking about the Fast and the Furious movies because I love them so much. And I get that they're dumb, and I get that there's nothing.
They're dumb movies, but they're fun movies.
They're so fun, though. They're so fun. You're telling me they have a bunch of cars attached to a vault and I think it's Buenos Aires, and they're just driving it through the streets, and it's just slamming into other cars, and that's not fun to you. Yeah, it's not going to win an Oscar, but that's okay.
I'll let you argue with Mark about that because he doesn't like them.
Well, I'll set up on my stream. We'll set up a charity stream next time, and it'll just be me and him talking about Fast and the Furious.
Oh my god, that would be amazing. Actually, people have to donate every time that one of you makes the other one agree on a point.
Yeah.
So, I've answered. I've had a couple other questions planned to ask you that we've actually covered already. So I want to jump and talk about more aspects of GMing games, and I think one thing that I get questions about pretty regularly is how do you incorporate your players' backstories into the game that you are creating? Like at what point do you like how much planning do you do before you get their backstories? How much do you allow their backstories to influence the world you're building? Where do you find that balance?
I am a big fan of collaborative storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
That is my biggest banner that I wave when I'm on RPG Twitter
Mm-hmm.
or anything. Is that like the story ultimately is you're the director / writer of this movie that you're making,
Yep.
and they're the actors, but they're also the audience.
Oh, yeah.
And the best directors allow the actors to have input in their characters. There's also another example, not to stray too far away from the topic, but wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the best wrestling promotions let their wrestlers handle their own promos and their own wrestling spots. They trust them with that. And that's how you get a better product.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing goes with tabletop. I merely just have in my head a plot set up of what's going to start things, what's going to start the story, and where I think it might end, but what kind of character they're playing, and from there. And I think there's in our Morgantown by Night game, I was asking the guys, I was like, I want you guys to like give me names of your NPCs.
Yep.
If there's like a place that you live, let me know about it so I can expand upon it. And that's the most important thing is that, like, especially with Vampire the Masquerade, because there's the touchstones. And there's also there's flaws where you can have an enemy or a jilted lover or something.
Mm-hmm.
And if the player themselves has an idea of how they want that to be,
Yep.
then hell yeah, give me that, and then I will just expound upon it. And I'm never going to step on your vision. And I'm always going to check in and make sure that I'm playing that or describing that situation to how you think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the more backstory that they give me, the better that the game is going to be too. Because
Absolutely.
I'm able to fill in some holes, and then that's when I'm able to pull out a card from one of their backstories that's going into the story that's happening in front of them.
Yeah.
And there is nothing better to me than sitting at a table, name dropping something from a character's backstory, and them freaking out about it, and nobody else knowing what we're talking about.
Yep.
That is awesome to me.
It is.
And like I'm all for, like, you know, no secrets at the table,
Mm-hmm.
but I do like a little bit of secrets. I like
Yeah.
I don't want anything that's gonna like break the game to be secret. I don't
Right.
like scheming hands behind the screen and being like, oh, this is really gonna, you know, mess up their whole like game.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like to have like hints, and I also like to connect backstories. I like there to
Yep.
have some overlap.
Oh, yeah.
It makes the world immersion feel a little bit better. I don't want it to be Star Wars levels of overlapping backstories. I think
Everyone
that's just
grew up
lazy
in the
writing.
same town.
Yeah, yeah. Star Wars is just is just the story about how one family fucked up the universe, the whole entire universe,
Pretty much.
and everybody's connected to that family. Oh wait, everybody's related. It's fine. But it's like I like to have a little bit more immersion. But I want them. There's a lot of times in my games where I just want to be like, okay, what do you guys do, and just sit back.
Yeah.
And just like let them build and let them play, because it's their world just as much as it is mine.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's 100% how I run Vampire, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I think Call of Cthulhu I approach differently because there's a story I want to tell.
That's with those investigative games, it's very much more so GM or keeper. With Call of Cthulhu, it's keeper control.
Yeah.
But that's if there's like an investigative mystery that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
When it's like political games, like much of the World of Darkness line, or if it's like high or low fantasy or urban fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
I do very much like there to be more character engagement and player engagement.
Definitely.
In building, just because it makes it more fun, and it makes your time at the table not feel like it's being wasted.
Absolutely. And everyone feels more engaged with the story as it's going, even
Mm-hmm.
if they're not necessarily the focus at the time.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I definitely like run my games like it is a movie. I've talked a little bit like it, but like I'm very big about scene changes and everything, like especially if like the party splits up. Like I'm gonna like spend like I set myself like a timer on my phone. I'm like, okay, no more than 15 minutes on this, and then switch over.
Yep. Yeah, I always you gotta rotate. That was a very, very deep answer, sir. I'm thinking that threw me off a little bit. I'm processing some of it, because it's similar to the way I answer the question, but you mentioned a few things that I hadn't thought of before, so that was awesome. Shifting gears to a little bit more lighthearted. If you could run a one shot for anyone, who would you want at your table?
Okay. So think of this, I want optimal table. So I want there, including me, to be 5 people at the table. So that's 4 players.
Yep.
That is perfection to me. That is ascending enlightenment to gaming. More is complicated. 5 can work, but more is complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Less is feels like there's something missing. Okay,
Yeah.
so 4 players. Off the bat, I just did a Dark Depths episode about her, but Shirley Jackson. I feel like she would have a great time, and I feel like she'd be very creative, but also witty and fun to play with. Just because I'm a big wrestling fan and a big wrestling nerd, and I know that he plays, but the Big Show.
Yeah.
The Big Show is a big guy. Like he's a big guy. And he is also a big player of tabletop. Yep. So yeah, the Big Show. other soft answer. This is not like real answer, soft answer, but I do want to run a game for you guys at Gehenna Gaming at some point. That is an aspect of like that I really want to run. But anyways, I digress. Jason Carl is a big one.
Yeah.
Just because I've seen games where he's played, and
Mhm.
I know that he's a very giving like player.
He's very
And so that
engaged with it. He likes to,
engaged.
yeah.
And then last one would probably be just for poos and ha-has. I want uh probably Genghis Khan.
Mm.
Just for poos and ha, because I just want to know. It's like
Yeah.
if everything in like this perfect hypothetical scenario, language barrier wasn't a thing,
Yeah.
and then like I could explain to him the rules and him get it. Hell yeah, be perfect. I feel like he'd be really good at Warhammer Fantasy or Wrath and Glory, or he'd be really good at D&D. So
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
The ultimate murder hobo.
Yeah.
Good answer.
That's the ultimate murder hobo. Brother Nick. Sorry. Every time I see Brother Wes from
Yeah.
Nick, I have to.
Brother Nick.
Brother Nick.
So I liked part of your answer there, and I wanted to. That was actually going to be a surprise bonus round question. When are you going to come on and run a one shot for us?
Okay, so anytime, just let me know when. Give me a time, and I would love to do it. Just give me enough prep time.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've talked a little bit about Alien, and I want to continue that conversation a little bit because I have a really cool idea, and I've talked with some people about it. But I have a really cool idea for an Alien stream, and I think it would go well.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I mean, anytime, just let me know and give me ample time to prepare.
Well, let's put it up right now. Why don't you start preparing it?
Okay, cool.
And we'll do something maybe end of June.
End of June. All right, sounds good.
Sick.
Sounds good.
And,
any system preferences, or do you want to do Alien?
Oh, I want it to be Alien.
Yeah, we'll do Alien.
And you mentioned that the ideal number of players is 4, and let's see, we've got me and Mark and Rick, and it looks like we have a Nick in chat, so that's 4 players right there.
That's 4 players right there. Perfect. Perfect.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Not to put you on the spot, but I know we've already talked about it.
No. I love being put on the spot. I'm a Leo, and I'm told that makes me. I want the spotlight. I have no idea about astrology, but
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. What's your favorite aspect of tabletop gaming? Like across the board, if you have to cherry pick one piece of running and playing games, what is your favorite part of it?
Storytelling. Storytelling. It's my favorite outlet.
Yep.
I like writing, and I know there's tons of examples of people being like, well, if you want to run this kind of game, then you should just write a novel or write a short story or something like that.
Right.
And I like to write like that, but it's also that is a long-term investment to something that you don't know will pay off.
Right.
Running a game, storytelling through a game, the act of storytelling from now to all the way back when people were first telling stories around campfires and stuff. The most gratifying part about that is the immediate, I guess, feedback.
Yeah.
Whether it's positive or negative. That is my favorite aspect of it, is being able to tell a story to people and get their reactions, and that the serotonin in my brain it starts flowing if I can get a smile or a gasp, or even if somebody's like, that's kind of shitty, then I'm like, okay, cool, because that's something constructive for me.
Yeah.
Well, I'll expand on it, but that's something constructive for me to work on. So the storytelling aspect of it is my favorite, and then close second is probably just being around people.
Yeah.
I'm an introvert most of the time when I'm by myself, but I seem like an extrovert. That's because I have pockets of when I'm like, okay, I need tons of people around me, and I need to talk with people, and I need to talk about stuff. But then there's parts where I recede back into the turtle shell, and I'm just like, I don't want anybody to talk to me.
You're like me.
Yeah.
I turn it on. I'm like, okay, I'm going to use all of my extrovert energy for this convention, and I come across as a massive extrovert for PAX Unplugged, and then I come home and I die for a week, and I don't want to talk to anyone.
that's what I'm terrified about. If like the next convention that I go to with you guys, it is going to be so much like stimuli from people that I'm not going to talk to a single soul for the upcoming week afterwards. I'm just going to be like a monk sitting in my hut
Yep.
with my laptop doing my work.
You might. That's what
Yeah.
that happens to me. I'm definitely quieter on Discord. I have to take the day after a con, even if I've been traveling for
Hmm.
the day after. Once I get home, I have to take a day off from work and like decompress. I'm a
That
mess.
that was the only time that I've gone to Dragon Con.
Hmm.
I had an astounding, awesome time. Um, but I had to. I stayed in my room for like the 36 hours afterwards.
Yeah.
I didn't like. I only got up to like get food that was delivered to me, and like to I don't even to use the restroom. But like for the most time, I was just like, I'm here now.
A touch of you. That was me misjudging how burnt out I would be after an online convention. Um,
Yeah.
cause I,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No. That
oh no, I
VHC.
did it after PAX East too, because I was like, yeah, it's a home
Oh, you did
convention, I'll be
after
fine.
PAX East too?
Cause
Oh
cause
no!
I literally like drove for 20 minutes from my house to the show. Like that was my.
Yeah,
So I was like, I'll be fine.
I remember when you took a picture of like outside your workplace and you could see the convention center right out there,
I can.
and you're just like, yeah, I'll be fine. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, he's not gonna be fine.
No.
He's got to take some time,
No.
spend some time with
Rip.
with the cats and nobody else.
Meanwhile, yeah. Thanks. Yes. Hello, dear. She pops up in chat. Um, Mistakes were made. I'll fix it. I've been informed I'm getting murdered if I don't take the day after conventions off in the future.
Oh, that was Shelby told me that
Oh yeah.
for VHC. She's like, you have to find because I was preparing for it leading up to it,
Hmm.
and so like I very much like some kind of like I imagined a creative genius would be. Not that I'm calling myself that because I'm not, but imagining a creative genius like being like, don't come to my chambers at all. I'm preparing, and then like the day of, I was just like, nobody talk to me. But I mean, otherwise, fantastic time.
Yeah, that was it was amazing. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Me too.
Anyway, what inspired you to start Carrion Comfort Studios? Tell us about Carrion Comfort Studios.
Okay, so Carrying Comfort Studios is a horror focused stream
Hmm.
um, that focuses on focuses on deep dives into different facets of horror
Hmm.
as a genre, limited to but not include or like but all encompassing video games,
Hmm.
music, even literature,
Yep.
movies, tabletop gaming. Um, and it is also a place where I can keep myself accountable of my own writing,
Hmm.
um, and also get a little bit of community engagement with the things that I'm coming up with that
Hmm.
aren't necessarily um, games that are being streamed or like the content that I'm creating for that's just for me or my immediate friends and
Right.
like friend group. Because there's a lot of that we share with each other. Um, and I like to be very proud and vocal about the things I do on the internet, but there's some things I just like to have for myself. Um, it started, I guess, what was it? January was the first stream.
Mm.
I've
Yeah,
been
I
going
think so.
for almost 6 months. Crazy,
Oh yeah,
almost 6 months.
already.
Um, I was a I've been a streamer for 3 years,
Hmm.
but the Shred Pirate Roberts was my first stab at it, which was me just doing whatever I could
Yep.
on stream. I was a variety streamer. Um, and even before that, Shred Pirate Roberts wasn't even my first name for it. It was Wes the Chef, and I was gonna do cooking streams. And then I realized I did not have the equipment to be able to take those under. So I just streamed um, horror games and multiplayer games and all and just things that were coming out.
Yep.
and and this is a very important conversation about mental health, folks.
Yes.
I had a very, very, very fast upward climb. I hit 100 followers within 2 weeks of starting streaming, which I was blown away by.
Yep.
And I was just streaming on my PlayStation 4, just playing games and streaming on my PlayStation 4. But I hit up to 100 followers, and I hit affiliate quick. So trying to piggyback off of that success, I started hammering it in and streaming all the time. If I wasn't working, if I wasn't spending time with my family, and my family time also started bleeding into me just streaming all the time. It was all I was talking about. It was all I was doing was just streaming and streaming and streaming.
Yep.
I didn't play video games for enjoyment anymore. I didn't do anything on the internet for enjoyment anymore. It was all just about the stream. And I burned out, and I had to take a break from it. So I took a quick, I think it was like 2 or 3 months break of not doing any streaming at all.
Yep.
I went through my own little self rehab, and I came back to it, and there was no engagement anymore. I'd lost the following. I'd lost the steam. And that's because I didn't set a schedule or planning or boundaries for myself. And so I picked it back up, but I didn't feel as fulfilled anymore. And by this point, I was in the Discord talking with you guys. And you guys were a very big inspiration on myself and the stream too, because I saw that you guys were doing something on Twitch that was more than just playing video games. You had community engagement on tabletop, which was always a love of mine, but horror primarily. And so I figured, I was like, you know what? I need to rebrand myself. I need to come up with a whole new thing. And I want to talk about something that I'm like very much passionate about, which is storytelling and horror. I love horror. It is every fiber of my being. Stephen King was my first like horror author that I fell in love with. I can't wait to talk about it on stream, because people always remind me, they're like, hey, Stephen King's kind of trash though. And I'm like, hey, I know. Okay, to be a fan of Stephen King, you have to recognize that he's kind of trash. You have to recognize
it and embrace it.
Yeah, exactly. But so Carrion Comfort was born, but it wasn't the name yet.
Right.
I was going through, I knew I had Carrion in my mind. And I went through, I asked people, I think I asked you, I asked a bunch of other people. I was like, I like sent a list of like names like to people, and I was like, which one of these sound good? What do you think I should even do? I have ideas of what I want to do. And then I remember a Dan Simmons novel that I read in college. Carrion Comfort, which is one of my favorites. And I was like, Carrion Comfort Studios, Carrion Comfort. Also, the internet, there's not a lot of Carrion Comfort stuff except for that novel on there. I mean, when I'm coming up with anything, I plug it into the old Google machine, and I see how many.
It's the first thing you do.
And that was the only thing, was Carrion Comfort, the novel. And I was like, you know what? Nobody's going to be mad at me for having that as the name of studios. Fair use laws, my man. Fair use laws.
Indeed.
So Carrion Comfort Studios was born. And when I first started with Carrion Comfort, I was very scared, because I'd never done anything like that on Twitch before. I had just played video games and had tried to have charisma. So I came up with a character, the whole Brother Wes character, which is kind of still there, but not really. It's more there online. I think I only need to bring him out when it's like useful. But like another big interest of mine is true crime, but specifically cults and true crime. And I think they're very dangerous and something that should be studied and like not like exaggerated or anything like that.
Not glamorized.
Not glamorized. There should be a respectful approach to the discussion of cults and using them in media. But that was a big influence on the character, primarily Jim Jones and David Koresh. And then Joseph Seed from Far Cry 5 was like the aesthetic look. because I like the idea of a preacher wearing those, like, and also Jim Jones, those drug haze glasses, the amber lens glasses that reduce light glare and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like the idea of that. Perfect hair, buttoned up, wearing a vest, but he could be wearing a bolo tie. Like he's your best friend. I'm here to help you out, like that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So that character, and like my first, you can't see him now because the VODs are down, and I have them downloaded,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm thinking about editing them at some point and putting them on YouTube, maybe, or not, or just having on to them. But there was
You
definitely
could
a
just not
character
edit
there.
them like we do.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I just cut out the breaks that are in between, and
Yeah.
then yeah. But it was I wanted to show, more or less flex and show that I have something a little bit more to me than just
Mm-hmm.
being a semi handsome face on a screen playing a video game. I wanted to have a purpose
Mm-hmm.
almost. There I You're not your job, you're not, anything like that. I wanted to have something that, like, I could look at years down the road and be like, that's mine.
Yeah.
And even if it didn't succeed, even if it fails, like, even if this fails and I make $50 off of it, or even if I make $0 off of it, or if I make a shit ton of money off of it, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. You never know with these things.
Right.
I want to be able to look at it and be like, I put myself out there, I put something out there, and I created it and I did it, and there's something to show for it. And my face is on a t-shirt. Now, you can buy that t-shirt.
You can.
Check out our merchandise. I always say the royal we, or our with Carrying Comfort, because it's the whole family thing,
Mm-hmm.
the family aspect of it.
But it's just you.
It's just me right now. And also all of the wonderful followers and subscribers out there. Twitch.tv/Carrying Comfort Studios. But um, that was another important aspect about it, of like family.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's something that you see all the time with content creators, where they're like, our fan base is our family, it's our community and everything. And I'm not shitting on anybody that says that, or anybody that does that, because a lot of them mean it, but a lot of them also don't mean it.
Right.
And I wanted to use the capital F in family for the followers, because I do, and I'm talking to you at home, I do appreciate every single one of you that watches the stream, that contacts, that engages with me, that likes my shitty tweets that I tweet out at like 8 a.m. Like I appreciate everything, because I get to do something. I get to talk with people. I get to experience things with people. And that's what Carrying Comfort Studios means to me. Is that I get to talk I get to talk shit about horror with people.
Yeah.
I get to talk about my favorite stuff with other people about horror. And that, at the end of the day, that is the most important thing.
It really is.
If I make a few bucks along the way, hey, that's cool, but I've got a full-time job.
Yep.
It's never gonna hurt my feelings. It's also, man, it's I've been able to meet a lot of great people because of it. I mean, I met you guys beforehand, but doing Carrying, I'm able to put that on a resume that I did something, and I'm able to meet people and not just have a working relationship with them, but also have even an acquaintanceship with them,
right?
And be able to have a deep, meaningful, intellectual conversation with folks. Yep,
It's the most rewarding part of it, and it's also the most terrifying part of it.
Yeah, agreed. I blocked my first person today on Twitter. Well,
really?
Not my first person, but related to the stream and everything like that. Yeah. Just to let you know, when somebody's doing a charity stream, they're actually meaning to do it. Yeah. Also, don't message people while they're worried about their cat.
Yeah. Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick on the internet, man.
Yeah, seriously.
Rule 1. Don't be a dick on the internet.
So I have 2 questions left. But speaking of your cat, why don't we go over that one more time before we wrap the stream? So tomorrow morning, well, tomorrow you will be launching.
tomorrow.
You will be launching into a 24-hour charity stream marathon to raise money for the Humane Society of the United States.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about it.
So, it is exactly what it sounds like. It's a 24-hour marathon stream where I'm going to be on camera
Mhm.
for at least 24 hours, or not at least 24 hours, but at least 23 hours. There will be times where I'm taking bathroom breaks, or I'm getting a coffee break, or I'm making food or something. It is a big deal to me. The charity involved is a big deal to me. The Humane Society of the United States, they do so much for animals.
Yeah, they do.
This all over the nation. They stop puppy mills. They target trophy hunting groups and people that are illegally poaching animals off of national wildlife reserves. They provide adoption services for animals that have been abandoned and who have been mistreated and who have been abused, and they actually find, like using like vetting, uh, to use a pun, to find a new home for them.
Mm-hmm.
They also provide medical services, and that's kind of what really stemmed from it, is that they provide medical services for those who cannot afford
Yep.
to do things for their for their pet within reason. Um, and they have no kill shelters. That was a big deal for me, is that they don't just help rehabilitate animals and take them in and find them new homes, and then if they can't do anything, they just kill them. They treat animals with a certain respect that is owed to animals, that's owed to every living creature on the planet.
Yep.
That is like, they give them hope and an opportunity for a life more than they couldn't possibly have. When I was growing up, every single cat that I ever had was either a stray that we brought in from the street or was adopted from the Humane Society.
Same.
My mother volunteers her time to them every single year. It was a charity that was very much involved in my life.
Yeah.
And I donate to them every year in Wally's name. So it was very important that, with something attached to him, that I wanted to contribute to them. At first I was going to do like a GoFundMe maybe and everything like that, but I have other ways of making money. I don't need your money. Your money is appreciated, but like, I wanted to pay it forward, because in the time when I first, it was Saturday, I was getting ready to go on for the Kult stream on Gehenna Gaming. I wasn't able to make it because I found him in a state that I was not used to him being in, and it was terrifying, and I didn't know what to do. And then we went from there. It was like two different vets. One was a normal vet, the other one was an emergency vet. And in that time, I just announced, I was like, hey, like, Wally's not feeling good. I need, and everybody was like, go take care of Wally, figure it out. How is he doing? Everybody checked in on him. They checked in on me too. And it was a lot of kindness that I don't see a lot in the world. Like, we live in a very negative time right now, where it's a lot of like negativity and hate and everything like that. And for a time where my brain was on fire and I was expecting the worst, I had strangers and people that I've only known through the internet show me a fucking I have a microfiber cloth. 1 second. I had people that I had never met in person before show me such kindness that I have never felt in my life. And all the messages started with, I wish I could do something more. But I hope they're okay. I hope Wally's okay. Send him my love. Like, I'm thinking of you, but I'm also thinking of him. And it like broke me down emotionally. I'm like a very like emotionally like I like to stay separate from my emotions. They're very private to me. And it was a kindness that I can only hope that I can repay. And so I decided I wanted to do this stream to pay it forward somehow. So it's going to be 24 hours. It's called Getting Wrecked for Wally. And somebody asked me, they're like, are you going to be getting shit-faced on stream? And I was like, maybe, I don't
It's
know.
the first
It's
thing I thought
24
of.
hours. Yeah, but no, it's me getting wrecked at games that I'm not good at,
Yep.
which is most games. I love video games, but I'm terrible at them.
Yep.
I used to be much better, but I'm an old man now. Well, old man. I'm not really an old man.
You're
But
younger than me.
yeah, but so I'm gonna be playing League of Legends
Yep.
and Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I was originally gonna play WWE 2K20, but that game was a nightmare to play, and I don't think anybody should ever play it. I got it for $5, and even I don't want to play it. So I don't see how anybody could be good at that game. But also a new edition, Dream Daddy, and I guess Doki Doki Literature Club is going to be involved.
Yep.
Hollow Knight as well is a game that I've never played, but I've always wanted to play. So it's going to be 24 hours of me doing all of that,
Awesome.
which also there's a break of me just making breakfast and just talking and having coffee. But most importantly, it's just going to be me being able to talk to people and thank them for the kindness that they shared. There was a point where I had messages from people that I was just like, all I can do is just do a cut and paste. Thank you so much, because I don't have the other words for you.
Yep.
But this will be an ability, and I'm hoping to have him on stream for a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if not most of it. It's up to him.
Yep.
He's resting right now. He's a little groggy.
Yeah.
I mean, the medicine kicked his ass. The whole experience kicked his ass. But I'll let you know, he's resting well. He's eating.
Good.
He's drinking water. He's staying hydrated. And he's just as loud as he was before. So hopefully, I've got a spot next to my desk for him. Cool. That is like a little like toweled up area, because he is not a conventional cat. He doesn't like cat toys. None of them interest me. He likes pipe cleaners, plastic bags, boxes, like cardboard boxes, and then towels.
Yep.
Pet like beds aren't his thing. He does like one part of the cat tower that we got for the cats here. He likes one part of it. So yeah, but hopefully I'll have him here on stream, hanging out the whole time. He might not understand it, but he does appreciate all the kind words and the well wishes and everything. He probably totally doesn't get it. He doesn't speak English, I think. He doesn't speak English. So, I mean, we'll see. It's awesome. It's going to be a good time, though. And like I said before at the start of the stream, if you can't give, no worries. Just signal boost.
Yep.
Let your friends know. It might be something that they're into. If they're not into it, they're not into it. But if they are into it, the more the merrier. And it's going to be 24 hours. So if you can't make it from 10 p.m. past like 5 a.m., that's okay. I'll be there at 6 a.m.
Yes, you will.
And, like, I'll be there up until 8 p.m. Thursday. And the link will be open up until Friday, or like Saturday, technically.
Awesome.
At noon. So if you get paid on Friday and you can't make it, it's fine. But yeah.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, all right. As I said, I have 2 more questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
What's your earliest memory of the horror media? You know, either watching a horror movie or playing a horror game, reading a horror novel. What's your earliest memory? What was the first thing that scared you?
Well, other than growing up in the South in the 90s, which is a horror in of itself, there's 2 things that stick out in my childhood memory of things that scared me. The first being the movie The Haunting, starring Liam Neeson and Catherine Zeta-Jones.
It's a good one.
And Owen Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't scare me as much now, but when I was a kid, my family moved around a lot.
Yeah.
And we were in a hotel watching, I think, HBO at one point. Or my dad was watching HBO and my mom was just doing whatever, and I was watching with my dad. And there's every single part. It scared me to death, but I was trying not to show it. You know, big tough guy. But every time a scary part that my mom could like anticipate would be showing up, she would throw a towel over my head to keep me from seeing it. So like that's like the first time ever seeing any kind of horror media at all. It's just like me fighting to get. I'm like, what's happening? There's a whole part where like Owen Wilson's being dragged towards a fireplace. Like there was a solid like 15 years of my life I didn't watch it again until like I was like 20 or something. I didn't know what happened to Owen Wilson. I didn't know what happened to him. And so like that moment I'd be like, "Oh, is that it?" Like so like that's the first one. The second one is it's a little bit more gruesome, so I do apologize. But I did find
Or a horror channel.
yeah, I found a dead fox on a log when I was investigating the woods behind my house at one point, and that image to this day like pops up in nightmares. It pops up in my writing sometimes, like in my tabletop games. Like there's a fox somewhere, and it somehow ends up dead every time, just because like I was a young kid.
Yeah.
I was like 6. I was like 5 or 6, just exploring around, playing Star Wars or whatever in the woods, and you just like it's that image that you see in a lot of scary movies or movies of just like a kid just like staring at this thing, being like, I don't have the concept of this.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have any like family members that had died yet. Like I was just like, I don't know what this is. It looks like a cat. Like what's going on with it? Except that is like like I can see it right now. It's weird, man. Brains are funny.
Bring you back a little bit.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Last question. This is an important one.
Mm-hmm.
What's next for Carrion Comfort Studios?
Whew, I'm glad you asked. So I've been tooling around with some stuff. I am currently in the process of upgrading to a PC.
Yep.
Because right now I am streaming on a MacBook.
Yes.
And it limits everything that I can do.
Yes,
it's really good for Mac products are really good for a very narrow, specific kind of thing. But there's this whole like divide, these canyons that I need to be able to do stuff with. So I'm currently building a PC rig so I'll be able to play horror games or like do a lot more creative editing stuff or things like that with the stream. So if you do donate to the channel or you subscribe or anything like that, that's what your money's going to.
Yep.
I've got like the case and I've got a cooler. It's right here beside. I've got like the SSD. I've got fans and a cooler sitting right here. I am like paying for it like a part or two a paycheck.
Yep.
I'm trying to be responsible about it. I got my bailout money or whatever for COVID-19, and I just looked at the check, or I looked at my bank account, and I was like, I could just buy it all right now, and then I didn't. Hey, don't look away from the camera.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, VHC decimated my laptop.
Yeah,
I need it. Like we would have
needed it. Yeah,
Gehenna Gaming would have been offline for like a month if I didn't do it all at one go. So we definitely did it. Yes, I know you know, Nick. I know you know, and your efforts were much appreciated.
So that's a big thing. I put a poll on Twitter at one point asking what name you would want to call a cooking stream if I added. Because I said if I'm going to add
I voted in that.
if I'm going to add a stream, it's going to be a cooking stream because it's something I've always wanted to do and I've never been able to do it. So carrying comfort food.
Yep.
Is the next step in that, and I am very excited to do that. It has gotten to the point, though I do realize, man, there's a lot that goes into doing cooking streams.
Oh yeah.
That I have to have multiple cameras and stuff. And for those, I will be streaming from a laptop because I'll be in my kitchen. I'll have to be. But it'll be, I have 2 webcams now.
Cool.
I've got most of the kitchen gear that I need. I'm having to upgrade pans wise, which has led me down holes of being like, do I buy Le Creuset? And if you don't know what Le Creuset is, it's really fancy French cookware. Like Dutch ovens and skillets and stuff like that. I'm like, do I buy that? Because I might as well. But then also the other part of my brain's like, no, be rational. Just
go like the ones, just get all clad and just go like that one step right below it. Which is honestly just good because that's what I have.
It's just good. Yeah, all clad. Yeah. So that's the next step. And then also, which I'm comfortable with talking about it here. But I'm not going to give like a name or any like big like announcements or anything like that. But I do have, and I have, so two things. I have sitting in a folder in a Google Drive. I have everything written and prepared for Iron City by Night, which Iron City is another name for Birmingham, Alabama.
Yep.
There's not a lot of streaming Vampire Chronicles that take place in the South, except for ATL by Night.
Yep.
Is the only other one. There's like New Orleans by Night, I think, somewhere else.
Is there New Orleans? Yeah, there probably is.
There probably is.
I only know of Atlanta, so.
Yeah, but in the lore of Vampire the Masquerade, Birmingham is actually a pretty interesting place. There's the prince, which is Alexander Silverstone. I think he's a Malkavian prince, though, which is like, to me, is like, perfect.
Oh, yeah, I have a Malkavian prince for Providence, so
perfect. But Birmingham is very interesting because it is much like Atlanta. It is a hub for a lifeblood of transportation and shipping in the United States. Multiple highways go through Birmingham. It is also one of the main hubs of where the civil rights movement took place. So it's got a lot of history. Also, Southern cooking. It's very interesting because it also is a sprawling metropolitan, but the downtown is very connected and all the suburbs are divided evenly. And I prefer small town stories over big city stories.
They're more interesting.
They're more interesting to me. And there's not a lot of that on in like that you see in Vampire the Masquerade or any World of Darkness, because it is urban horror. So that's something that I'm looking forward to on the stream that I've got on the shelf. That I just need to I need to decide if I'm doing it online or in person. And I need to start talking and start gauging interest in folks, and like find a scheduled time for that. The next thing is, boom, one moment, let me go ahead and pull up my own personal notes here. The next thing is Alien. I've got an idea for a Alien series using Alien RPG, and I want to poke and prod Free League because they don't really have a dedicated Alien stream.
They don't.
So I would very much love to have the dedicated Alien stream, and it be anthology series, because Alien they have the cinematic play, which is really good for 1 to 3 shots. But I want to do it like American Horror Story or Twilight Zone or an anthology series where there is a different story every 3, like there's arcs, different seasons, and there's a revolving cast of players, and there's some that carry over that play like different characters, but there's like a few dedicated people that still continue to play, because I think that's interesting to me to have multiple people playing in a stream.
Definitely.
It provides variety, and it's also multiple different like perspectives on a story. Also, I just want to be able to say that I can comfortably write and direct an Alien movie.
Absolutely. I like that model too, because it gives people who are busy as shit like me a chance to like play in it, but be able to be like, cool, I can only play like 3 sessions and then I gotta bounce.
Exactly. Like it takes so much time to schedule and be like, yeah, I'm going to dedicate the next Thursdays for who knows to you. Like, and so it would allow me to be able to play with like Nick. I really want to run a game for Bran. There's a few other folks in the Discord that I really want to run a game for, that I have a short list already of like folks that I really want to get like their perspectives on sci-fi horror.
Awesome.
So that's and that could be maybe in conjunction with you guys, or maybe just all by myself. I don't know yet.
I don't know. We'll have to talk.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk. I'll have my people get with your people. which I just think my people is just Wally is my secretary. He's not very good at it.
But I mean,
But
but he's lovable, and I mean, who says no to a cat? So
yeah, exactly. A cat that sounds like Tom Waits too.
absolutely.
Might I add, people.
No.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we're gonna wrap. I'm not going anywhere, but I am going to let Wes go and get some sleep because he has a busy day coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So before you go, I just want to say for the rest of this week, including the stream, a reminder to everyone watching that any subs and bits donated are going to go to our other friend who are dealing with some vet issues of their own, Bran and Danny, where we will be helping them out with.
Oh my god! Yeah, we all got it.
Boom.
all of us.
I'm typing and 3 people are doing it at the same time. Mona, who has a potential spinal injury and needs an MRI and some other stuff. So if you sub to us or donate bits from this past Sunday up until Saturday, we're going to be donating all of that to their GoFundMe, or you can just go donate directly to their GoFundMe. I will not be offended. You should be supporting the animals more than you should be supporting us.
Yeah, I'll have a revolving command as well on my 24-hour stream. So if you want to give your money to directly to somebody and not to an organization, then definitely send your money to them.
Absolutely.
Danny and Bran are great. They're great fucking people, and Mona is so sweet. So
she is. She is a very lovable, energetic, crazy little pupper.
Oh yeah.
So as I said, we're going to be letting you go. I'm going to go on a short break, and while I'm to make some tea, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to play some video games because that's what I do when I have time to. But where can people find you online other than twitch.tv/Carrion Comfort Studios?
Man, other than twitch.tv/Carrion Comfort Studios, which, you know, you say it 3 times like Beetlejuice rule. Down below me, that is my personal Twitter handle. Brother X Wes. I'm there all the time talking about horror, wrestling, politics, video games, food, what shoes you're wearing. Please show me what shoes you're wearing. I love shoes. So that if you want to talk to me directly, that is where you go and find me. Instagram is the same. I post pictures of Wally all the time there. If you want to see them, there's a whole thing of him. I have stream highlights of him. You can get all the Wally pictures that you want to.
You want Wally. You need more Wally in your life.
Yeah. And then also at Comfort Carrion is our Twitter and Instagram for the stream. You're also talking directly to me because I don't have a social media person, but it's going to be in the guise of the studio or the company itself. So you can check that out. I do have a YouTube page. All it has right now on it is 4 playthroughs of a Death Stranding playthrough with no commentary. So if you want to see what the first 6 hours of Death Stranding is like, then go check that out. But there is going to be more content on there as soon as I start.
Walking Simulator is a great game.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. I'll go to bat for Hideo Kojima. But also, and you put Facebook on there. I deleted Facebook today. Delete Facebook. You don't need it.
You don't need. No one needs Facebook unless you.
That's my hot take. That's my hot take. I mean, yeah. I mean, unless you're a company, then you definitely need Facebook.
Yeah.
But that is the Facebook for Carrying Comfort right there. That is still active, so you can check it out there. I don't post as much on there, but if you need to get in contact with me, Twitter, Instagram. I'm also over at Gehenna Gaming this way. Gehenna Gaming's Discord all the time. We can talk about more stuff there. But yeah, definitely throw some love to Mona. Throw some love to these guys. They're doing great work.
Thank you.
Before I go, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
Because interviews, you know, they get weird once the person asks the interviewer, you know, once the things shift.
Yeah.
Because I never found out. But what was your very first earliest memory of horror?
Seeing Gremlins when I was 5 years old. And it was terrifying to a 5-year-old.
Do you hear what I hear? That song creeps me out to this day, dude. I get it. Yeah, no, I get it. No, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I saw Gremlins at a friend's house when I was 5 in like the middle of summer, and it just terrified me. And now I'm like, oh, it's a Christmas movie. I would watch it. I
Yeah.
watch it all the time. Um, so yeah, Gremlins.
Gremlins at 5 years old.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah, I never looked at a microwave the same after that movie.
No, definitely
So I
not.
get it.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
cool. That's good to know. That's good to know. Okay, I like that. I feel like we know each other better now.
We do. We do. Just a little bit. Just a little
Just a
bit.
little bit better. All right, but yeah, thank you so much, guys. Thank you guys for
Thank you for joining us.
yeah, yeah, and thanks for having me. I can't wait to invade the stream a little bit more at a later date.
We'll talk. It'll be soon.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So, like I said, I'm going on a short break. While I am on break, you should also take a break. You should grab some water. You should stretch your legs, grab some food, do whatever you need to do. But you should come back in like 5 or so minutes, and I'll be playing a video game. I don't know what I'm gonna play yet. If you want me to play something specific, throw it in chat. I will play that game. It might be Dead by Daylight. Maybe I'll play with some viewers. But you do what you need to do. Thank you, and we'll be right back.
All right. Yes, Nick, I have that bio. Bye.